Hey guys, I want to do a video today on handguns for lefties. Surprisingly, the video I did yesterday on the AK-47 for lefties got a lot of hits, and I got a lot of good messages about it. People who appreciate it. Sometimes I forget that there are people who follow this channel, part of which because there's a lot of lefty-related advice here, so I wanted to extend a video on handguns for lefties and show you guys just some things that help and can help you purchase a better gun that's a better fit for you and be able to manipulate it a little bit better. As we know, if you're a lefty or you know a lefty, odds are you know someone who's taken a couple of hot shell casings to the face and heard the gripes about it, but typically it's not that bad if you select good firearms for you and you learn and practice how to manipulate your firearms differently. You got to kind of go against the grain with a lot of the things you do, but some firearms make it easier than others. For example, this Ruger P95, my first handgun, and the reason why I picked it was because it was well known for being inexpensive, reliable, and also almost fully ambidextrous. This firearm has an ambidextrous safety. So it has, as you can see on each side, right here by the grip, and it has a ambidextrous decocker. No safety to manipulate, and very easy to use. It's a single and double action, so you can leave this with one loaded in the chamber and the hammer down for a very long trigger pull, so it's very safe to carry with one in the chamber. But it's very easy to manipulate because if you are a lefty, the magazine release, of course, is right there for you to get. And this is safe, guys, just so you can see. We do. We're not gonna let that decocker go real loud because the kid's sleeping in the other room. But as you can see, you can access it from either side. So if you are doing anything unusual, you don't have to use the one. So I do like that feature, having the mag release there. It can be a little difficult to reach at times, but as a lefty too, one of the things I do find is I often go for the mag release with my right hand with this, and that's only a force of habit because I tend to manipulate the magazine release with my right hand with most of the firearms, which you'll see. So I do tend to do this quite a bit because my hand's coming down to get the mag out anyway, so it is something you will see me doing. Now let's go to the exact opposite. We'll go to the Glock 36 here, which pretty much has no ambidextrous features whatsoever. And as I just mentioned, you heard me say I tend to use my right hand to engage the mag release. Now, the Glock also has no external safety, so there is no safety to worry about, and no decocker or anything like that. All there is a slide release, which I can access if I'm feeling particularly strong just by rubbing it down like that. Now, sometimes it doesn't always work, or if I'm wearing gloves, that's not happening, but I do have the capability of doing it. Now, how do I access, reframe here, the mag release for this? Lots of times when I'm shooting, what I'll do is I've taken my shots, bam, 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 and when I'm done, of course, you should be putting your finger up on the frame so you're away from the trigger, and that opens up a little bit of a gap there. So what I tend to do is with my right hand. Now what I do is, so you can see this a little better, is when I'm holding it, I'm coming around the back and reaching in there and pushing it. So that's a very common way for me to manipulate the mag release on these weapons. One of the things you do have to be careful of as a lefty is it is very easy to hit that mag release with your left hand, so you do have to be very careful of your hand placement, and especially if you're wearing gloves, that you're not activating that as you shoot. But I find it to be very comfortable, very easy to do, and really, you're good to go by doing that. I can also bring my one hand up. I practice that a lot, bringing the hand up, and hitting it, but that's not very efficient, and it does take your grip off. I can also, bring the finger down, but I do prefer, my preferred method is just to get it from the back side. Giggity, that's what she said. Now let's move on to something a little more featured. This Ruger LC9 has a safety, mag release, you know, slide lock, all of that are really difficult to operate. Now this is a firearm that I never use as safety. So, because number one, when you're using it, it's almost impossible to access shy of wringing your thumb around, which is not a good thing to do because you lose a lot of control of your firearm by doing it. So I tend never to use the safety. Slide lock, once again, I can get up there and hit it with that hand, but I typically have a little trouble with this because this one is a little on the stiff side. Same issue with this one. Now the magazine release is a little better on this and it's a little more protected, so I don't have the issue with hitting it with my left hand at all ever. But same thing with this one, shooting, bam, 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 I access it with my right hand. You know, it does take a slight change in grip. You know, of course, when your finger's in the trigger, there's not room. But when you bring it up, it opens that area for you to release that with the right hand. So LC9, great gun, but like I said, very difficult to manipulate as a left-hander. But using my technique is actually not too bad at all. It's just that you really, if you're going to use this, you're better off just to keep one in the chamber or none in the chamber and not even touch that safety. Moving on. Another ambidextrous firearm is this Walther P22. Main reason why I got it, you know, reviews of great reliability, value, and it is ambidextrous. You have a ambidextrous safety on both sides, which is pretty easy to manipulate with your thumb as a lefty, and your magazine release, which is a pain for any of these, is in your trigger guard. So you can access it by, I can't reach it with my thumb, so typically I reach it with my right hand. I just come down and hit it. I know some people do it with their trigger finger, but for me, I try and do all my magazines with the right hand. It creates a pattern that I repeat that I'm always going for it with my right hand. So I tend to do that. It keeps my grip on the firearm. Slide release on this is actually very easy to get. With this hand, I can actually, because it does stick out so far, as you can see, it sticks out quite a ways, and it has some almost like jimping on it, so I can access that very well with my trigger finger to release it. Moving on. The Smith & Wesson SD40 is pretty much identical to the Glock in function and feature, has the same trigger safety. Just wanted to show you that this one actually has a little better of a mag release because it's a little higher up there, so my hand never touches it. While I'm gripping, it's never interfering with that. It actually rests very well in between the webbing, so as I'm shooting it's protected. But of course I can reach around and access it every time as I shoot. You know, so I'm shooting, bam, 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 I'm out. I actually don't even have to reposition my hand, just take my finger out of that trigger guard and I can reach this one very well. So a left-handed manipulation on this is very good. Once again, slide release is very difficult with this, but you know, what are you going to do if you're putting, you know, one of the things you got to train for as a lefty is when you're putting that back in to automatically rack before you go back in, because most of the time you're not going to be able to reach that slide release well at all. And here is another one I picked out a lot because of the left-handed feature of it. It's the SIG P250. This is the full size in 45, and this one allows you to actually change the safety from right to left hand. So I've of course put this safety accessible to the left hand. It is safe, so I do enjoy this quite a bit. And as you can see, the slide release is ambidextrous on this firearm, so this is quite a ambidextrous firearm, and you can reach that slide release and the mag release all with your left hand without having to do any different technique whatsoever. So this P250 is actually quite a good gun for lefties. So there you go, guys. Those are my handguns and how I manipulate each one as a lefty. And depending on your hand size, now guys, my hands are weird. I have big gigantic palms and little tiny fingers, so my manipulation of handguns is usually a little different than other people. So you know, you have to kind of adjust it suited on how your hands fit the firearm and all that. But for me, it's very easy for me having smaller fingers, you know, where if I need to reach this with my thumb, it's no big deal for me whatsoever. Sorry, this isn't showing up the best, but it's no big deal for me just to reach back and hit that with my right, which is something I fairly commonly do, because with this gun, it's a big gun. It's actually a little bit of a reach for me to hit that with my left thumb. But once again, it's that pattern. It's that developing a routine, and that routine is to use my right hand for the mag changes. So that's what I do. It works for me. That's what I practice, and I try to do it consistently with all of my handguns, so I'm not switching one of them doing left hand, one doing right hand. I try to always release that mag with the right hand, so you know, whether it's with the thumb or whatnot. But that's how I do it. And like I said, guys, some of the better handguns out there for lefties, I think, are the P95 by Ruger, the P250 by SIG, and this Walther P22. All three of those very good for lefties, very easy to use, and pretty inexpensive too. They're all, you know, you're talking 300, you know, 500, 550. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed, and that's handguns for lefties.